So did you watch the video? Did you watch the video? Anyone who is present? Did you watch the video? Anyone who is present? Am I audible, guys? Am I audible? Am I audible? So did you watch the video? So did you understand what is compaction? Did you understand how compaction is done? So anyone please unmute yourself and please reply. Did you understand the video?
Yes, ma'am.
So did you understand how this water is mixed with soil? Okay, and how compaction is done? I was explaining no compaction is done in the laboratory by in 3 layers, and how these blows are given, 25 number of blows are given, right? Did you get? This is right? Huh? Students? This one right? Hello? At least you write in the chat box. Yes, okay. So this is the hammer. This is the hammer, right? This is the hammer we use. Huh? This can be pulled. This one, this handle can be pulled, right? From here, here to here, we can pull the hammer, right? And what is the weight of the hammer? 2.5 kg. Huh? And the number of blows are given is 25 per layer, right? Okay. So what we do, we pull the hammer from here to here and we drop the hammer. So when we drop it, okay, so it gives some energy, 2.5 kgs. Okay. And what we do, we this one. See this video. See this one. Okay, this is the soil sample. This is the soil sample, right? So we first what we do, we give the blow at this place, next here, next here, next here, and this is how. This is how everywhere we have to uh, blow the soil. We have to blow the soil, give the blow, so that the compaction is uniform throughout the layer, right? So once we finish the compaction of one layer, that means once we give the 25 number of blows to one layer, what we do, we put some another soil, some amount of soil, okay, and we do the same thing, 25 numbers of blows, 2.5 kgs of hammer, and we again complete the second layer. Then what we do, we again give the amount of soil, and we again do the compaction. And after compaction, this is after compaction. This is the figure of the compaction. We remove the excess amount of soil. We take the weight of this mold along with the soil sample. Okay, and we keep some. We take some amount of soil for water content measurement. And from the weight of this soil and the volume of the soil, we can find out the density of the soil. If we have the water content, this water content we can calculate, we can determine using oven drying method, right? So this is called standard Proctor test. Okay. So factors affecting compaction. These are the factors. So what happened when we add water to the soil sample? So what happened when we add water to the soil sample? What it did, it acts as a softening agent on the soil particles, and it become easier for the soil particles to move past one another during the application of the compacting forces. And as the soil compacts, the void reduce, and this causes the dry density, dry unit weight to increase. Like when we add water, this act as a softening agent on the soil particle. So which and because of that, the soil particles can move on one another. Right. So when we apply load, what happens? The soil particles move from one place to other place, and whatever the void spaces are present in the soil sample, those are filled up by the soil particles, and because of that the void ratio gets reduced and the dry density gets increased. This is what happened when we add water content to the soil sample. Then water content below soil sample. Suppose here in this place, uh, above water content, water starts to replace the soil particles in the mole, and the dry unit weight starts to decrease. Suppose what happened, we are suppose this is the OMC. For this case, 12% water content is the OMC of the soil sample. Now, if we add water content which is more than OMC, what will happen? The soil particles, the water content, since it is higher than OMC, the water content start to replace the soil particles in the mold, and because of that the dry unit weight of the start of the soil start decreasing. Then soil type is soil type, grain size, shape of the soil grains, amount and type of clay minerals present, and the specific gravity of the soil solids have a great influence on the dry unit weight and optimum moisture content. Uniformly graded sand or poorly graded in nature is difficult to compact them. See, poorly graded sand or poorly graded uniformly graded sand are difficult to compact. Actually, it's very difficult to compact a sandy soil. Then soil type. In poorly graded sand, the dry unit weight initially decreases as the moisture content increases, and then increases to a maximum value with further increase in moisture content. At lower moisture content, the capillary tension inhibits the tendency of the soil particles to move around and be compacted. Then at a given moisture content, a clay with low plasticity will be weaker than a heavy or high plastic clay, so it will be easier to compact. So clay with low plasticity means liquid limit is high. Okay, plastic liquid limit is high. Plasticity index is higher. Okay, so the clay with low moisture content, okay, and low plasticity are easy to compact. So this what is plastic limit, what is liquid limit, what is plasticity index, what is plastic, what is non-plastic. This thing will be discussed by your by Jayanta. Okay, I will take. So factors affecting compaction, structure of compacted clay. What happened during and after compaction? What happened to the soil structure? So this is a compaction curve. These are the two compaction curve. One is low compactive effort, another is high compactive effort. Same soil. Okay. So what happened at the dry side of optimum? Okay, at the dry side of optimum. This is the optimum. This is the optimum moisture content here. So this is the optimum moisture content. This one. Okay. So this is the dry side of optimum. This is the wet side of optimum. What happened in the dry side of optimum? No, optimum. What happened? The soil structure will be like this. If these are the soil particles, these are soil particles. So this will arrange like this. Okay, in the dry side, and this structure is called flocculated structure or honeycomb structure or random. Actually these are, if we know, these things can be related to honeycomb structure. Honeycomb, you know na, honeycomb, how honeycombs are formed. So this is the honeycomb structure. So at the dry side of optimum soil are the structure is like this, and at the optimum, that means at the maximum, this at this point the structure became like this. Okay, intermediate structure. So here we have the maximum dry density. And at this stage, what happened? Dispersed structure or parallel structure. See, because of the high water content and the energy, what happened? The soil's particles became parallel. It became parallel. Right. And this structure is called dispersed structure. So this is what happened uh, when we compact a soil. This at the starting of the compaction, then at this intermediate state, and at the last stage of compaction. Okay. So the structure of the soil changes from flocculated to dispersed structure. So if someone asks you like what happened to a soil, what is the structure of a soil in a compaction curve, you can write it changes from flocculated to dispersed structure. Is it clear? Is it clear? The structure of compacted clay, student.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Now, factors affecting compaction effort. Okay. See, I told you like in Proctor compaction test, what we do, we take 25 kg of hammer, 2.5 kgs of hammer, and the blows are given, 25 numbers of blows are given in each and every layer. So how can we find out the energy? The compaction energy per unit volume used for the standard Proctor test can be given as, this is how we calculate the energy, how much amount of energy we have applied to compact each and every layer can be calculated using this formula. So what is this? E equal to, E stands for energy. Okay. E for energy equal to number of blows per layer. How many number of blows we have given to the soil sample? Okay, that multiplied by number of layer. Okay, multiplied by weight of hammer, then multiplied by height of drops divided by volume of mole. Now, now uh, suppose number of blows is 25, 25, right? 25 number of blows multiplied by number of layer. Number of layer how much? 3, right? Multiplied by weight of the hammer 2.5, 2.5, and height of drop. So I think you have seen this one, no, in the video. Height of drop means, so this is the hammer, okay, and this can be, and this is the handle. There is a handle, right? There's a handle, okay. This handle, we can pull this handle from here to here, we can pull the handle, okay. So from here we drop the hammer, right? If we release the handle, it will drop from here to here. So this height is called the height of drops, okay. Divided by volume of the mold, 1000 cc, okay, and we can find out the energy. The effect of increasing compactive effort. For this reason, it is important when giving values of gamma D max, that means maximum dry density, and OMC, to also specify the compaction procedure, for example, standard or modified. In standard compaction, there are two different method. One is standard compaction test, and the second one is modified compaction test. In standard compaction test, we use 3 numbers of layer, 25 numbers of blow, and weight of the hammer is 2.5 kg. But in modified compaction test, no, the number of layer is 1000 cc. Volume of the mold is 1000 cc. Number of layer is 5. Okay, number of layer is 5. Then number of glues is different. Then weight of the hammer is more than the standard one. Okay, so this is what. So when we write about the gamma d and OMC, we should also mention what is the procedure we use to find out this OMC and MDD, whether we have used standard or we have used modified one. So from the preceding observation, we can see that as the compaction effort is increased, the maximum dry unit weight of compaction is also increased. Okay, so if we increase the energy, then the maximum density will also increase. As the compaction effort is increased, the optimum moisture content is decreased to some extent. So if we increase the compaction effort, the optimum moisture content decrease up to some extent. So this can be seen from the figure. See from this figure. So here, as we increase the compactive effort, what happened? This optimum moisture content is decreasing. See, for these cases, optimum moisture content is this one. For these case this optimum moisture content is this one, and for this case, optimum moisture content is this one. Optimum moisture content is decreasing with the compactive effort, and the dry unit weight is increasing. This is what happened. Okay. So effects of compaction. So what happened? So once we compact the soil sample, what happened after compaction to the soil sample? There are few things which affect the compaction, right? Then soil type, those things affect the compaction, and there are few properties of soil uh, which changes after compaction, right? Effect of compaction and effect of soil type on compaction. These are two things. Now, as I have already discussed about the effect of soil properties of compaction, now we will describe what will happen after compaction, right? Effects of compaction of soil properties. Okay. Though the soil properties which we are going to discuss is soil structure, what happened to soil structure, permeability, swelling, water pressure, then shrinkage, compressibility, stress-strain relationship, shear strain at molded water content, and shear strain after saturation. So these are the soil properties which we are going to actually explain what happened after compaction. So I think all of you know about the soil structure. What happened to the soil structure after compaction and before compaction? This I think already I have explained. It changes from flocculated to dispersed state. These are nothing but the soil particles. You can if it is clay soil, then we can denote by this one plate-like structure. Actually, clay. If we have clay soil, no, though clay soil, the size is plate-like structure like this. So if you want to draw clay soil, though you can denote it by like this. These are the plate. Or if you want to draw kaolinite, no, then you can draw like this. This is the shape of a kaolinite particle like this. Okay, and this is called honeycomb structure actually. So these I have already explained. Effect of soil structure, this I have already explained. Okay, so effect of soil at point A, the water content is low and attractive forces are predominant, so result in cumulative structure. As the water content is increased beyond optimum, the repulsive forces increase and particle gets oriented into a dispersed structure. So as I have already explained, at this point, at this state, the attractive forces are predominant, right? And because of these attractive forces, these particles are like this. Particular like this. This is the kind of like there's attraction between this and then this one surface and edge. So if this is the particle, This is called surface and this is called edge. This is called edge. So at this point, these attractive forces are high. Attraction between this edge and edge and face. So because of this, this is perforated structure. But at this stage, no repulsive forces is high, and because of that, particles are like this. There is repulsion. There is no attraction between these particles. But here, there is attraction forces. Effect on permeability. So, do you know about permeability? I think you have heard about this permeability, but you haven't. I think no one has explained about permeability in your class, isn't it, or what? Hello, hello, hello. You can write in the chat box. Those who know about permeability can write in the chat box, or if you don't know, you can write. No, ma'am. Have you heard about the permeability? Have you heard about seepage? See, permeability of a soil depends on the void ratio or the size of the voids. If the size of the permeability, yes, okay. If the void sizes are high, right? If there is more void spaces are present, then what will happen? The soil will be more permeable, more water, more high amount of water can flow through the soil sample. If the void sizes are small, if the void sizes are small, right? Then what will happen? The probability is low. So what happens at water content increases, there is an improved orientation of particles resulting in the reduction of void sizes and permeability. Above optimal water content, the permeability is slightly increased. If compactive effort is increased, the permeability decreases due to increased dye density. So what happens? As the water content increases, there is an improved orientation of particles. Orientation of particles means how the particles are oriented in the soil sample. That is called the orientation of the particles. So what happens when we increase the water content of a soil sample? The orientation gets improved, and which reduces the void sizes of the sample. And because of this reduction of void sizes, the permeability gets decreased. Above water content, the permeability slightly increases. If compactive effort is increased, the permeability decrease due to increased dye density. If we increase the compactive effort, then dye density will decrease. Dye density decrease means there will be less void spaces will be available. Okay, and the permeability will decrease. Effect on swelling. Swelling, you know, na swelling. There are some soil which shows swelling and shrinkage behavior. Swelling means suppose we have clay soil, right? If we add water to the clay soil, what will happen? It will absorb the water and it will swell. The volume will increase. That is called swelling. So the effect of compaction is to reduce void space, hence swelling is enormously reduced, right? So the main effect of compaction is to reduce the void spaces, right? What happened when we compact a soil sample? It void ratio gets reduced, right? So because of the reduction in void ratio, it uh, compaction reduce the swelling of the soil sample. Further, soil compacted dry of optimum exhibits greater swell than compacted or weight of optimum because of random orientation or deficiency of water particle. So the soil which are compacted dry of optimum, that means less than optimum water content, they have more swelling potential than the soil which are compacted at the weight of optimum. Effect on pore water pressure. This thing we will discuss in the shear strength chapter, because you need to understand a few things before understanding about this pore water pressure. What is pore water pressure? So slightly I will say it is defined as pressure of groundwater held within a rock or soil in gaps between particles. The pore water pressure for soil compacted dry of optimum is therefore less than that for the same soil compacted weight of optimum. But about this pore water pressure, no, I will discuss this pore water pressure, shear strength, right, in shear strength chapter. Effect of shrinkage. Soil compacted dry of optimum shrink less when the compacted compared to weight of optimum. See in the compaction curve, no, this is the compaction curve. This is the optimum water content. This is weight of optimum. This is dry of optimum. The soil which are compacted here, dry of optimum, they shrink more. Shrinkage will be higher, and those compacted at dry of optimum. If a soil sample is compacted at this state, then they will shrink less comparing to this soil. Then soil compacted. Then soil compacted, weight of optimum shrink more because the soil particles in dispersed structure can pack more efficiently. Effect of compressibility. The flocculated structure on the dry side of optimum offers greater resistance to compression than the dispersed structure on wet side. So the soils compacted dry of optimum are less compressible. So this flocculated structure on the dry side of optimum offers greater resistance to compression. If a soil sample is in flocculated structure, no, what they do, they offer resistance to compression than dispersed structure, and because of that the soil which is compacted dry of optimum are less compressible than the soil which is compacted wet of optimum. Effect of stress strain relationship. I think all of you know about this stress and stress relationship. This is stress, this is strain, this is deviated stress. These things I will discuss in later classes. This what is deviated stress, this thing I will discuss in the later class. In stress shear strain characteristic, in shear stress chapter, you just understand this is stress, this is strain, right? And this is the relationship between stress and strain. So what happened? So these are two curve. Okay, these are two curve. So one is compacted, dry compacted, one is wet compacted. And if we see the stress strain curve, this is how it behaves. This is how the soil behaves. The soil which is compacted at dry state with dry compacted, and this is wet compacted, right? If we look at the behavior now, if we look at this behavior, this is how soil will behave. Initially, for the soil which is compacted dry, initially there will be increase in stress, right? So stress will increase and there will be decrease, right? But for the soil which is compacted wet side, this will be like this. This is the graph. This is how shear strain. This is the relation between shear strain. The soil compacted dry of optimum have steeper stress strain curve than those on wet side. It will be more steeper comparing to this one. This curve is more steeper than this one. The strength and modulus of elasticity of soil on dry side of optimum will be high. This has high modulus of elasticity. E. Okay, sorry. Then soil compacted dry of optimum shows brittle failure. I think all of you know about brittle failure. What is brittle failure? And soils compacted on wet side experience increased strain. The strain will keep on increasing with if we there it will experience brittle failure. At this point there will be failure, right? But at wet compacted soil, what will happen? They experience increased strain. That means this is increasing. This is keep on increasing. But here this is increasing, then there is decrease in the strain. This is what happened. Effect on shear strength. This thing I will discuss in shear. There is a chapter on shear strength. Okay, this thing I will discuss. In general, the soils compacted dry of optimum have a higher shear strength than weight of optimum at lower shear strength. So the soil which are compacted at the dry side of optimum, they have higher shear strength, and comparing to those which are compacted at the low weight of optimum. However, at large strain, the flocculated structure of soil is broken and ultimate strain will be equal to both dry and wet side. This is the stress strain curve. This is dry side, this is wet side. And this is taken from Mohr circle actually. This I will discuss in shear strain chapter. So these are the summary. What happened to when we compact a soil sample at dry side and wet side. So structure what happened in dry side, these are more random, and for wet side these are particles are more oriented. Permeability, dry side in dry side soils are more permeable, wet side soils are less permeable. Compressibility, more compressible in high pressure range, more compressible in low pressure range. Swelling, swells more, shrink more. Strength, strength is higher at dry side and strength is less at wet side. So these are the summary. Any question? Any question, student? Any question? Any question? Volume of mole means this is the mole, right? This is the mole. So it has a D. Suppose this is the mole, okay? This is the mole, right? This is the mole. So you can find out the D, diameter of the mole and height, right? Height. So how can you find the volume? Pi d square by 4, pi d square by 4, sorry, pi d square by 4. This is the area. If we multiply it, if we multiply it by height, we'll get the volume, isn't it? So that is the volume of the mole. This is this mole. This is the mole. Okay, volume of this mole, and this volume of the mole will be equal to the volume of the soil sample. Whatever soil sample we will keep here, that will be the volume of the soil sample. Is it clear? Okay, to is it clear? Volume of mole. Okay. Okay. So now, and there's one more thing I have to discuss. This type of compaction of standard Proctor test and modified Proctor test. In standard Proctor test, the height of drop is 305 mm and here 450 mm. So 25 numbers of blows are given. Here 45 numbers of blows are, 25 Newton hammer. Here 45 Newton hammer. 25 blows, 25 blows. 3 layer, 5 layer. Mole size 945 ml. 945 ml and energy. This is the energy. These are the actual difference between standard Proctor test and modified Proctor test. So, okay, it's almost, yeah. Now compacting equipment. So this thing I will discuss in next classes. So these are some rollers, how we uh, compact the soil sample in field, right? These are some field compaction. Okay. So this thing I will discuss in the next class. So up to these things are clear, no? Or any question? Any question? Few things are there like this shear strength, stress strain relationship. This thing I will explain when I will be discussing about shear strength parameters, right? Shear strength, compressibility. These are extra chapters. So this will be more clear if I explain this. Not right now. Permeability. So we have a chapter on permeability. So this thing will be discussing permeability. Okay. So you can actually leave one by one. You can leave.